In the meantime, we got to turn back to the case of Doomsday cult mom Lori Vallow Daybell, one of the jurors who decided to find her guilty of murdering her kids and conspiring to murder Tammy Daybell, is speaking out. His name is Saul Hernandez. He spoke to East Idaho News' Nate Eaton, Hernandez describing what it was like to be front and center in the courtroom as he came face to face with a now convicted killer.
One of the first things the prosecutors said in opening arguments was this is a case about money, power, and sex. And looking back, is that how you would describe the case, the trial?
You know, at first, I felt it was a reach, maybe a reach for them to start that way. And over time, as time progressed, evidence showed up and testimony was given. Yeah, it became clear to me it was really about money, power, and sex.
Do you think Lori was the mastermind now after sitting through that trial, or Chad?
You know, I think same thing. I think as you start to look at all the evidence provided and you understand the timeline from the start to the end, to me it felt like Chad was really the driver. He was clearly in the driver's seat at first. Lori liked what she heard. She was a goddess. You know, she was married to this very powerful being and through multiple lives. And over time, again, you see that relationship evolve to the point that at some point, Lori takes the driver's seat, takes the wheel, and Chad's okay with it. Chad lets that go because in my mind, he wanted one thing from her, and once he secured that, he was okay letting her take the lead role.
Letting her drive the car.
Yeah, I mean, and she has that personality based on what I saw. She likes to lead.
And again, another thing you mentioned last night were those text messages when they had their first fight, and how Lori was ignoring Chad.
Yeah.
What did you think of that, those encounters?
That blew my mind. That blew my mind because when you think about, I can see a teenager, you know, a kid being so impressionable that they may fall for something like that. But when you think about an adult that has lived a lifetime, and he is telling her that has no protection, and then she acknowledges it. And he goes to the point of saying, you need to give me a thumbs up emoji. That blew my mind. I couldn't comprehend how that even made sense for her to be like, okay.
And then she writes back, I love you. And he says, okay, I'm going to restore all your powers. It's
something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. Another thing you saw was the beach photos, the wedding photos.
Yes.
Of Lori and Chad. Yes. What did you think, you know, when you saw those? They're married while the kids are buried in the yard, and I believe you all knew that at that point. Did that leave an impression on you?
Yeah, I think disgusted was the best word I can give you. I was disgusted. I think it's one thing to do what they've done, but to that point, to move on so quickly from a 20-plus year of marriage, 2 kids on the ground, and then you look at the evidence and how it was planned out with buying rings, buying dresses prior to booking flights. I don't know, it's just disgusted. I saw evil I think true evil for the first time in my life. If there's a face to evil, it was hers.
Oh my, yeah, a lot of people feel that way. It's great that juror is speaking out so we can get kind of an understanding of what was going through their minds as our heads were spinning. Let me bring in my guest and talk a little bit more about this woman. I've got with me retired DEA Special Agent Ted Golden and criminal defense attorney Joe Tamburino on the program today. And Joe, as I was sitting in here with Ted and we're looking at each other like shaking our heads, I said to Ted, you know, when I was a prosecutor, give me the gangbangers all day long in court. I'm not as afraid of them as I are of some people you would see, like the domestic violence kind of crimes where it's calculated, it's secretive, it's like this, it's this sinister stuff. These people are dangerous. Joe, your reaction hearing some of this stuff this guy's sharing?
Well, not a surprise. Totally agree. She is evil, obviously. You know, this is something, like you said, is far apart from doing some type of gang crime. But what I found his interview fascinating for two reasons. It's about a 20, 25-minute interview. Number one, this juror, this was his third time on a criminal jury in the last 10 years, which is amazing. I don't know how many people that have, I mean, most people don't even get called for their whole life. And second, though the juror gives us all this insight, this juror was still undecided on the first day of deliberations. And I wish they would have went more into the interview about that, because I was perplexed. He came out and said, look, she's evil, everything, it's about money, about sex, about power. Why was he undecided that first day of deliberations, but not on the second? So it's a fascinating interview.
Definitely, Joe. And Ted, like you were saying, what mother, Ted was saying to me as we're watching, what mother gives permission for her kids to be killed? I mean, it is deplorable. Like, to me, that's why I say this is scarier than some of the stuff that's almost kind of predictable, that we know what it's about and why. This is hard to make any sense of.
It takes a sick personality to do that to children, number one. And then you look at some of the backwoods things that people do. Normally, it's adult and adult, and there's a vindication, there's an issue that they want to get out of their system. What kind of issue can you have against children, your own children that you birthed in this world? I don't get it. Don't get it at all.
No, no. You know, to me, you know, it's just, that's what's so frightening about this. This woman is dangerous, very, very dangerous, you know, and she's, you know, walking, you know, among us and pretending to be religious and pretending to be a great mom, all of that, you know, it's at least, like, you know, when I use the example, you know, and a lot of truth is said in jest, I'm just saying that, like, you know, at least you know what it's about with some of these people that, you know, it's about money for them. It's bottom line, you know, about money, the criminal activity. This is just, it's a whole nother level.